Not 2 seconds into this broadcast, and Phil Roffey says, "Is it Taylor Montgomery week?" I love it. Golf DGens are the best, man.
I don't know where that one's going, but I mean, it's got to be somebody's week, right?
You're not down there, obviously. You've had a hiatus in Montreal. How'd that go? Quickly.
It was great. Crowd was very, very good on Friday and Saturday. Sunday, the internationals really didn't give them a reason to get into it too much. They were down a lot early, and spaced out over 12 holes is tough. They really had to give them something there, and they didn't. But certainly Friday and Saturday, it was very exciting. The amount of action that came in on a lot of different books for this event was very, very surprising and very, very positive, considering it was college football, and NFL all weekend. So I think overall it was a big positive. I wouldn't reinvent the wheel on this thing. The international team lost a lot of one down matches on Thursday and Saturday, and
they're just never going to beat them in on Sunday matches. They're not going to hit enough fairways. The Americans are such good ball strikers.
Your big four have to show up. And when the U.S. big four scores 15 points on their own and you only need 15 and a half to win, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, I'm all for a boat race at Bethpage. Send Rory and the rest of it, Rahm and all of them right back to Europe, as far as I'm concerned. When it comes
you know what? I was kind of rooting for the international side because of the Canadian angle, and I'd like to see Canada, get something. And there's some Canadian golfers who really believe in it, and I like the underdog story, right? I also love it from the betting market side.
Yeah,
but as for the Europeans, fuck them. Let's get 30-0.
Yeah, I mean, the culture that they're building under the shield, the black and gold, it's all heading in the right direction. Medina will probably not go well for them, but then they go down to Australia. You probably have a captain like Adam Scott, and maybe
Medina
at that point
will not go well for them.
No, and then maybe you have Cam Smith back. Maybe maybe get a couple other guys or some young guys come up, and maybe Minwoo Lee shows up even though he's on the team, something like that. Something crazy.
Do you think that Adam Scott's still going to be around on this team in 2 to 4 years?
4 years, he'll be the captain down in Australia. 2 years, I mean, he played good this week. He's been playing good all season.
He did. He played well with Pendrith.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the week, I wouldn't have picked Taylor Pendrith as a guy to play 5 times, but he did. And the props that I went with was Cantley most points U.S. tie for the lead. Burns most points captain's pick. He won that, and then Siwoo most points captain's pick, and he tied for the lead. So I mean, those props are terrible betting events because it's like a first round leader. It's just going to be cut every single time. 5 ways, 4 ways, 3 ways, whatever it is. But I mean, we read the thing well. We talked about the people that were going to play good. The pairings were spot on that we did last week. It's just, Sungjae Im gets a point. Hideki gets 2 points. Tom Kim gets 1.5 points. It's like that. It can't go that way, and then you expect to win.
The bench for the international team is just not deep enough. It's just not.
Oh enough. Yeah. And the President's Cup set up that you have to play more guys.
Because Matsuam was gassed. I mean, he was gassed Saturday. Tom Kim can play. Tom Kim is kind of the star of the show. He should have played 5. It didn't matter on Friday because they won 5-0, but he's so into it.
Yeah, he's their, he is their North Star, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah. Love him or hate him, you need one of those, right? You need your Captain America. You need your person to go out. And it's, he showed his age in some ways, these guys are swearing at me, this, that. But, he's 22 years old, and he's embraced that role, and no one else over there is going to be yelling and screaming. It's not going to be Jason Day. It's not going to be Christian Bezaidnout, right? No. So, somebody has to do it. And, the Kims were electric. You got to love it.
Yeah.
And that match was a match for the ages because, quite frankly, they threw everything at those guys. They threw the kit. Siwoo made bomb putts. Siwoo chips in on 16 from an impossible lie. They couldn't even find the ball, right? Then he gets a drop. Tom Kim's making putts from everywhere, even inside the leather. He's making putts, and Cantley and Xander just go about their business. Never said a word. Next thing you know, it's dark out, and the train killer comes out, man, and he just put him away. That was it, just like he did to Rory with no hat. Just put him away on the last hole.
It was really surprising to me on Friday. Sorry, on was it Thursday? Was it Thursday? The Kim M versus Scheffler when they had these sort of
Thursday, yeah. The yelling back and forth, yeah.
Yelling back and forth, going to the next tee without them finishing. And, Tom Kim and Scheffler are good friends, very close friends, right?
Yep.
Tom Kim was the first one to celebrate Scheffler's Masters win when he came off the 18th green. Was that unusual to you? B, I forget my B. But, the other part was B was I couldn't believe over the course of the week because Kim was making everything deep, everything at one point. But the Americans were too, even sort of the non-great putters like Morikawa. I thought if these guys just didn't, like Cantley couldn't miss. If the Americans just didn't hit one or two of those 20-foot putts, it made a huge difference because M was close on everything. I mean, they just couldn't keep Cantley away, Well,
they lose by 7, so in 30 points, that's 4 matches need to go the other way, right? Yeah. Is the math right there? Yeah. So, the first day, sure. We'll say there was 3 matches that were 1-up wins by the U.S. to go 5-0, and that's what makes those things so compelling. Those guys battle for 5 hours in a 4-ball match, and they walk away. You're like, here's 1 point. You're like, man, 200 feet of putts, I get 1 point. And that's
then you got to go again.
Yeah, it's like playing football in the SEC. We just beat Florida, we just beat Tennessee, and now I got to play Alabama on the road. I'm still
you're not going to win.
Yeah, well, yeah. Congratulations, but thanks. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what makes those team events so really, really good. Is that they just battle all freaking day, and then there's like 8 points. You're like, oh geez, like we got to do this again tomorrow. It's crazy. Crazy. So overall, I think I don't need the women involved. Surely the LPGA would want to get involved. I think the 12 guy thing is good. I still think both the sets of matches have too many captains picks. It should be like 10-2.
Team golf still rules. It's authentic competition.
Yeah.
If it was 10-0 after Friday, I'd be like, fuck, this is lame. But they made a run at it. It was great.
Yeah. So, and all these people that say like, oh, it should be like match play every week and everything, they just don't understand golf, right? Match play is not good for TV, right?
No.
The players themselves hate it. And, they like doing it once a year. And I think that's a good spot for it.
Yeah, the Dell match play is good once a year. But a live versus PGA is just we've proven it's uninteresting week to week. It's been proven.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to we're back in the fall swing. So we're back in the PGA Tour starting again. Sanderson Farms, right? Which is you paused there for a second. I was like, "Fuck, you crapped out on your internet." But no,
I was reading the comments. Something about a neon light.
Yeah,
you know what?
There was one behind you.
There was a guy on Twitter that reached out to me about the light, and I needed to figure out if I could get another one made for him because he wanted one for his office.
Well, don't get it made by the company neonlights.com that made this one. That's not even neon. It's made of like LED lights that only comes on. Watch when I hit my desk angrily. There you go. It comes on.
Do it again.
So,
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. I made a note about the neon light, Jeffrey.
So here's a big shout out to Neon Lights. Fuck you, neonlights.com. Thank you.
Yeah, that was not the company I went through, but
good.
Yep.
So Sanderson Farm, it's kind of like, it's the fall swing. It's been a rehab your game type tournament. You've had sporadic random winners. I'll think back to Cody Gribble randomly. But a mix of styles. You've had Sergio, you've had List, you've had Sam Burns, but then you've also had Ryan Armour, right, and Mac Hughes, not bombers. So it's just it's a tough week because it's a matter of scoring. Shocker, but you got to make a ton of birdies, right?
And how do you do that?
Putting mainly.
Correct. So 8 of the last 10 have gained 3 strokes or more on the champion Bermuda grass greens, and these are some of the most Bermuda greens, but most brilliant Bermuda greens that these guys play on tour all year. And they've had good weather conditions. Yeah, they're really good Bermuda. Much better than St. Jude. Than the Hey Judes are terrible. Those things are like, well, we've been down that road. But these are really, really good. The weave is tight. It's good. So, the guys that really understand grain and putt Bermuda grass very, very well they stand to do well here. And that's the separating.
Sam Burns, there you go.
Yeah.
Ryan Armour, there you go.
Ryan Armour for sure. Yeah. Mac Hughes.
Yep.
I mean, how about this? Last year, Luke List, who hasn't gained putting in his life, maybe he gained more on the greens than he did ball striking, but that's the path.
But that's why, because I'm a course history type. It's like you kind of have to throw it out this week. But if it's sun running putting, that could happen to anyone decent. Now, do I want a bomber more so? It kind of screams a little driver. Gribble, List, Sergio Garcia won here. Burns won here.
Cam Champ
won here. Cam Champ,
Burns beat Cam Young. They're both both move it really good.
Move it, right? And this is a chalky play, and it's a short price play, probably the shortest in the field right now. But the way Nick Dunlap has played over the last little while, I was like, man, Nick Dunlap seems like an answer here. I mean, he's putting better.
He's good on easy courses. Yeah.
And he started to get better on difficult courses, and I think his game changed a little bit. So, where do you start here? Like, what are you thinking? In terms of players, is this a like, look at Keith Mitchell, top of the board in DraftKings, right?
Here we go.
I'm not saying you're 27 weeks sober of Keith Mitchell, right?
Yep.
However,
the 27th, yes.
What, top 4, top 5 statistically ball striker on the tour last year, TD Green?
Yep.
And then had a very unsuccessful year. Why? Because he was probably one of the worst putter.
Yep.
Is there a rehab week for some of these guys?
I don't know. What do you mean by rehab week? I'm kind of like,
listen,
on that.
If they were really confident about their game, would they go to Jackson, Mississippi to play at Sanderson Farm? Or do they think
100%? Because they have 7 events left to get to number 51 to 60. And any of these clowns in the fall can win one of these events. Cody Gribble's proven that.
What's the 51 to 60 thing?
So, okay, this thing is all about points in the fall. It's no longer a wraparound season, right? Like, I'll put the PowerPoint up later, but right. Okay. So yes,
it'd be funny to put a PowerPoint up right now. You printed it out. Right, you tie wearing motherfucker. Go ahead.
I mean, yes. Yeah. Office Space. All right. So this thing's all about points, right? I mean, for the second tournament in a row, the purse has gone down. So sorry, PGA Tour. That's a problem, right? Yeah. But this thing's not about the money. Right? It is about the points. They need to be top 125. And if you're a guy that's well inside the top 125, like a Ben Griffin, like a Mac Hughes, like a Adam Svensson, like a Patrick Fishburne, any of these guys, right? Like, they want to get to that 51 to 60. That is the golden number, because number 1 through 50 are already locked in. Those guys don't have to play at all this fall. Eric Cole just must like playing. I don't know what it is, but he doesn't have to play. He is in the signature events. He has got his card. He's set for all of next year. And now all of a sudden, the 51 to 60 are the guys that are going to get into AT&T and Genesis, right? The first two, kind of full fieldish ones that it's not the Century, right? Sure. So that's proven now for a year or two that these signature events change careers. They're $20 million purses. Not only that, but if you get in those events and you just trip over your own dick, then guess what? You get to the playoffs in the top 70. And if you don't play in all of those, you don't get those number of points, and then you can't get into the playoffs, which perpetuates you going back into the playoffs, right? Like,
So is the fall swing still working on last year's math in terms of FedEx Cup standings? Like you can get into
100%.
okay, so even though it's finished, you could still get in the top 50 to 60 going into 2025.
So if you were whatever, Matt Kuchar.
Yes, Kuchar.
Right. Let me find it. If you were Matt Kuchar, who after Procore is 102, right? You know what I mean? And whatever after Wyndham he was, let's say he was right around there after Wyndham as well.
Sure.
Although, he probably was a little higher than that. It just went from like Wyndham to Procore as if there wasn't a month in between, right? Again, 1 through 50 is locked. 51 and over are where they are, right? And then you keep trying to make that better and better until you get to RSM and Sea Island. There's a huge incentive to be between 60 and 51 because you get in those signature events. And I think that these guys, when they have a place that they're relatively good at, they're going to go balls to the wall for these places, or they're going to play 5 of 7 of these things. And they know these golf courses because outside of next week, which is a totally brand new event, they're all repeat golf courses. Napa, Jackson, the new Tiger course, El Diamante, Sea Island, Butterfield, Bermuda, they're all the same places, right? So when they have to go play to get the points, that's what's driving these guys, right?
Yeah.
That's what's most important. Now, where's my head at on just Country Club of Jackson? Well, 40% of your approach shots, approximately, coming from 100 to 150. Well, a third of the field are elite at that. Okay. JJ Spawn, these guys, they're elite at those shots. Matt Kuchar, elite at those shots. All right. So then it's like, okay, what's going to separate that third? Well, who are the best drivers there? These are top 10 narrowest fairways on tour. So hitting from the fairway would really help us. And the longer down the fairway I am, the more that's going to help me. So who are the elite drivers, right? Like, again, Patrick Fishburne or Charlie Hoffman or a guy like that, right? So I'm further down the fairway and then, okay, well, that gets me down to like the top 25% of the guys. Now, how do I separate to figure out who's going to win or who I'm going to build my lineups with in DFS? Okay, putting. Putting is the eternal separator at this particular venue. It has been proven year after year after year. Now, it's tough to predict who's going to be great at putting, and the list proves that. Ryan Armour, Cam Champ, to Mac Hughes, to Luke List. I mean, there's good putters, there's bad putters there, right? But if you're looking at the trend of who's putting coming in, we probably have a very good idea of what we're doing. But if you're looking at other things, then you're just being tricked by what strokes gained means and what really separates you in the field. And that's where my head's at on all this. And that's why I'm looking at the people that I'm looking at. And I have all my notes ready for today's snake draft. Sponsored by
snake. I'm doing a snake draft on every show now. And it's fantastic.
Just, hey, not for nothing. We started the snake draft.
That's right.
So on those other shows, it is, I would love a little credit.
On the NFL shows on primetime slates, people in the comments are like, snake draft, do a snake draft. Only rule of snake draft is no duplications.
What do we got here?
Well, here's the thing from RPS Ghost, by the way. RPS Ghost, our ghostwriter at RPS,
yep,
which ran a fantastic article. He had an interesting section on his article. I won't talk about all of it, but I think 0 to 1, maybe one player in the 10 to 11K range on DraftKings has finished in the top 12 in the last 6 years here. There he is. Am I right, RPS Ghost? Did I say that correctly? 0 to 1? Has there been one? So that speaks to the variance here in terms of putting and some of these expensive guys like Keith Mitchell. I mean, are they going to hit 25 footers? Are they going to hit 5 footers?
Keith Mitchell? No.
You still think he's broken?
He's not broken. It's about value.
I like when you're mad at me. It's hot.
I'm not mad at you, right? But you always repeat the same things just to push my freaking buttons. But how many times you want to bet the guy at 35 to 1 and he doesn't even come in the top 10?
I love
because it happens all the time. And I'm not talking about in signature events or majors or anything. I'm talking about in the Procore, 35 to 1, 12th. Wyndham, 80 to 1, 12th. Let's go to the 3M. How about 35 to 1, 46th? How about the Barracuda? He's one of the betting favorites. Miscut. Like what? Like that's not good, right? And every single one of those weeks, he would have modeled out to be in the top 5 of anyone's model because they look at all the content and everyone filters the same exact things and then they come up with the same exact list. And that's why certain names pop all the time, like out of nowhere. Like, oh, this is the week for Henrik Norlander. Well, yeah, no kidding, because he fits this week, and then, oh, his course history was good. Well, yeah, of course. Like all of that makes sense. Like, and guess what? FanDuel has model makers too. They know what they're doing. So, like, Keith Mitchell is such a sucker pin at the top of that thing, right? Because everyone bets the favorite. Mac Hughes. How's Mac Hughes going to come back from an emotional week in Canada, right?
Now we agree on that. I was going to bring Keith Mitchell in here right now because he's in my office and just wheel him in and just counterpoint you.
Yeah. I'm going to start dressing like Keith Mitchell every week.
At one point, I'm going to have Keith Mitchell here beside me.
I'm going to call up Sid Mashburn, who dresses him out of Atlanta. I'm going to go, Sid, I need a Keith Mitchell outfit every Wednesday.
It's very easy. It's an open button Izod polo and a giant Fred Couples visor.
I'll have to find a visor. I'm sure I have one around here somewhere.
Yes. You are Killer Keith today. You're Killer Keith Stewart.
I love Keith Mitchell. I have been with him in his presence very many times. He is an awesome dude. I feel bad that he can't putt and chip better, right? He is an unbelievable ball striker. I mean, that guy could thread a needle at 300 yards with that driver, and he loves to do it too, and he can. So God bless him for doing it. But man, oh man, at a place like this where you really got to separate with the putter, I feel bad for him because it's going to hurt, So
if Ghost Jam just said go to Keith Mitchell for Halloween. If you dress as Keith Mitchell for Halloween, would anyone in New Jersey get it?
I don't know if I came like if the 31st fell on a Wednesday and I came in the show dressed as Keith Mitchell, if you'd even get it. So,
I don't know if I'd get it. I don't know
exactly.
I'm Killer Keith. Okay.
I agree with Cashmere Keith, but yes, go ahead.
I agree with you on the Mac Hughes play. I think that's a lot of juice taken out of him in a week, a lot of travel, a lot of back and forth to the hotel, an hour and a half. I've been proven wrong before. I've seen Patrick Reed fly across the world from Dubai and win and win at Torrey Pines. But do you think that narrative is in play that he agreed to this event, but he's still going to be pretty gassed from it?
He's going to be gassed. There's no way he couldn't be. He's a past champion from 2 years ago. Like the guy has to be here, right?
Yeah.
And he's 51st on the points list. So he's got to preserve that. So he's got to look at that and go, man, I'm going to be gassed after that week, especially if we win.
He's got to defend it. He's got to defend it because some guys are going to chase it.
But okay, so he's not going to play all 7. Right. But where is he going to play? Well, the most likely place he'd want to show up would be Sanderson, where he's obviously comfortable to earn as many points as he can.
Right.
And if he finishes like top 5 here, and then he goes to Sea Island and finishes top 5 because he's played well there too, like in one other place, he's good for the fall and he's in that top 10. Right. So like those are the strategies you have to look at in order to understand like what motivates these guys. And that's why they're there. Nobody wants to go to Mississippi right now. I mean, in October and sweat,
honestly, and no offense to Mississippi, but really, or ever.
I mean, I've never been. I've been to every state and stayed overnight at least once east of the Mississippi, and I've never been to Mississippi.
Yeah.
Never been.
Yeah. Kentucky beat Ole Miss this weekend, by the way. So there you go. So top of the board then. So I agree. Listen, I just sort of I stoke your fire here with Keith Mitchell. Mackenzie Hughes kind of scares me because of the being gassed from the travel in Canada. I do like Dunlap though. I do at the top of the board in DraftKings when you have like the Griffins, the Dunlaps, the McNeelys, the Spawns, Hughes, Power surprisingly is 10K. Why did they do that?
Well, I mean, he's been good in the fall. In the last 2 years, he's played in 6 fall events. He's got 3 top 10s and he's got a win. So he's good in the fall. Of the guys in the 20s, I mean, Dunlop's the only one that makes sense. Seamus has 1 top 10 this year. Maverick McNeely is just going to break your heart like Keith.
Every time.
Mackenzie's got to be gassed, right? So right away, you go right down to the 30s, and there's going to be a ton of people talking about Griffin, Spawn, Fishburne, Rogers. I mean, these are all make sense guys to lead lineups with, and you could probably triple up with some of them because there's some guys at the bottom that make a little bit of sense that I think could get a little bit dirty down there in Jackson.
Well. The one guy I've been chasing for now 7 years is Patrick Rogers, right? He fits the profile here. I think he gained once 9 strokes putting at the John Deere Classic. The guy can putt. He can putt and he can bomb it, or at least at one point he could bomb it. He is the one. He's one of the guys. Tommy Fleetwood, another that's been on the tour consistently in a lot of these events. That's been chasing his first win forever. I could be wrong. He doesn't have a win, but I don't think he has a win.
No,
he does not. You got 2 guys there, Patrick Rogers and Steven Yeager. Okay. Steven Yeager can smash it.
Yeah.
Those are 2 guys with Dunlap that I could make a case for at the top.
100%. The problem with Yeager is he hasn't been playing good lately, but much like Houston, this golf course fits Yeager, right?
He's a dog.
Pound it, put it in play, and putt it good on subtle greens.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. But if you look at Yeager's track record right now, it's just not very good. It's the opposite of JJ Spawn, who's going to come in and model out to be the number 1 ball striker heading in, 24, previous 24 rounds or something like that. Fishburne. So I ran 2 reports to get ready for the fall. And the first one was strokes gained for everyone that's played over the last two falls, because they've basically been the same courses, right? And then who leads that list? And then the second one I did was this year from the US Open to now, who has the most strokes gained, week after week after week. And when you kind of, cross those 2 lists, you get the Patrick Rogers of the world, and you get some of these guys because they've played well in the fall, and then they're also playing well right now. So Patrick makes a lot of sense. Yeager didn't pop on those 2 lists because, Yeager's been okay in the fall, but then he's not playing good right now this past summer. So, when you start to look at some of these, when you start to really look at that, the fall is always the same, and the same guys seem to show up. Brendan Todd and Mac Hughes and Adam Svensson, and it's just the same guys all the time, right? And as a result, that's what we need to pay attention to, I think. So,
but in a field like this, right?
Yeah.
Is Patrick Rogers a $3,000 better golfer than Adam Schenk, or even a Troy Merritt, who's won on tour maybe more than once?
$3,000. Well, definitely much better than Troy Merritt. Patrick Rogers is playing well right now.
Right.
He's having a career year on tour from a FedEx Cup points point of view.
But that's a significant gap, right? That's a significant.
I would have a tough time with the Shank thing, but Merritt, no, I would say, Patrick Rogers has earned that for sure.
That's rude to Troy Merritt. Troy Merritt's going to smash this week.
It's not Detroit, dude. It's 1 week. Just fast forward to Rocket Mortgage, and we're going to talk about Troy Merritt. Until then,
he won the Barbasol.
Just
he's a par 5 master.
They don't even play that event in a real state. Okay,
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that tie too tight today?
No. I just missed you. Come on.
Yeah. I could tell.
I don't want your head to get too big with your $117,000 win or whatever it was.
160. I won showdown Sunday night too.
Oh, nice. Good weekend.
Yes. Okay. Then who are some of your mid-range guys then? You mentioned Charlie Hoffman. You just kind of slipped Charlie Hoffman in there. It was kind of unusual.
Yeah, I am well, I guess he'd be middle tier. He's in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
I like Spawn, I like Fishburne, I like Svensson.
Cole?
No.
Why?
Okay, so Fishburne gains 3 strokes on average per event right now off the tee.
Yeah.
and Cole loses 3 strokes off the tee.
Yeah.
It's just a
And
tough
Cole's a
spot
better
for him.
Montgomery.
Oh, Cole's definitely a better Montgomery.
Yes.
But I want Cole down at like El Diamante where the fairways are 100 yards wide and he just uses that putter to make 1,000 birdies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole fall, each place has all these like little different kind of nuances. Like the putter's really big this week on Bermuda grass greens. But like if you look at the average winning score of all the fall events, it's 20 under par, right? They're all birdie fests. So you just need to kind of put the puzzle together in the right places. And I just don't see like Silverado in this place being super good for Cole versus, other spots in the fall.
Fishburne's had a good run recently.
Fishburne's been great. Yeah. Yeah. He's actually, if you take the big names out and the guys that are just in this field, he leads strokes gained from the US Open till now. There you go.
And he could smash it too, can't he?
Oh, so he's top 20. He's like a top 10 ball striking guy, and he's top 20 with a putter. So I mean, he's like a perfect fit this week, and he had every chance to win in Napa, and then he went bogey to close on Saturday night, and then that gave Kazire like a 5-shot lead, and then it was over. But like he was in position. We had Fishburne and JJ going into Saturday, and they moved the wrong way. But going into moving day, we were there. We had 2 guys in the top 4 ready to roll, right? And Kazire came in and did his thing, but
Sam Stevens can get it out there too.
He can. He just hasn't been great lately,
No, he hasn't.
And the reason that now you want to go a little further down the board. I like the human ATM. I like Kuchar.
Still.
I mean, God, look at his numbers lately. He's playing really, really good, and the guy can still putt.
Yeah,
he just makes sense there, like in a Peter Malinaldi sense. It's not a long golf course. You have 4 par 5s and it's 7,400 yards. It's not that long.
He's a Ryan Armour type. Ryan Armour hits fairways.
Oh yeah. Matt's going to hit a ton of fairways. He's one of the best wedge players in that field. And then, he can make a ton of putts still. So, and he's playing really well. He played great at Procore. He played great at Wyndham. He played great at 3M. The guy's playing really good right now. So I think that he's somebody for sure. And then I like Charlie Hoffman. Charlie Hoffman hits a ton of fairways. And he's played well all year. His ball striking has been great. He was in the smoke out there at WMPO. He lost in a playoff, but we like that. We like that guys have been in the action, contending on a Sunday, and they live to tell about it. And now they're in a weaker field where if he goes head to head with somebody else in a playoff, maybe he comes out alive.
If you want an old dude who can shoot 61 on Thursday, it's Charlie Hoffman every single time.
Oh yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. If Keith Mitchell starts the week at 22-1 and Charlie Hoffman starts the week at 66-1, Charlie's a better scorer because he makes more putts and they're both just as good off the tee. So which one do you want to take? And where's there more value? So,
Matt Kuchar 102 in the FedEx Cup list, right? So he has some incentive.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. I mean, he would think of himself as a signature player, and the guy's a cash cow, has been his whole career.
Yeah.
And he's won before in the fall. His strokes gained in the fall is very good on these golf courses.
Some dying careers in the mid-7s at a Sanderson Farm like a Ricky Fowler. Doesn't even get a lot of attention, right?
It's so amazing. Ricky Fowler hasn't played since Royal Troon because he had a baby.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, in the mids.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying it from a look at Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, not the President's Cup. How weird was that after the fact? Not weird from an actually it shouldn't be there, but it was very strange from an American golf standpoint that those 2 guys aren't at a President's Cup. And Ricky Fowler's like a mid-range golfer, mid-tier golfer at the President's Cup. I mean, sorry, at the Sanderson Farms.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's the biggest draw there by far. But that's about it. Yeah. Yeah.
You still have List mid-7s. He can break your heart like McNeely, but he's a past winner. Not playing great. I think Norlander has the best course history here, who hasn't won.
It's very good.
He's very good. And I know you were high on him at the last tournament we talked about. Maybe it was Napa.
Yeah, good. High on Napa. He was 8th at the Omega Masters the week before. And he's in his last 4 events here, he's gone 4-4, 24-2. Give me a break.
Correct. Yeah, exactly, Kyle Miller. Add Berger to the list. Like, Berger was a star, and he's just trying to find and rehabilitate his game. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yep. I got to respond to Ghost Jammed right here.
Where? What did he say?
Look what he said.
Svensson couldn't put his weight over a paper bag.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, it's normally true, right? Except on Bermuda. And I want to look at the exact numbers, but I think his last couple events, he's gained like over 6 putting. Yep.
He is a Canadian. He did not make the President's Cup, but Svensson also makes birdies. I mean, he does make a ton.
So 3M, he gained 2 with where's the putter? Yeah, the last 2 he's been positive. Wyndham, he gained well over 3. That's Bermuda grass, champion Bermuda grass. So we love that. And at the Procore, he gained with the putter again, almost a stroke, 0.7 of a stroke, and he finished 12th at both.
How do you putt on champion Bermuda grass, by the way?
What's that?
How do you putt on champion Bermuda grass?
You putt towards the rip.
No, but how do you specifically? Like, are you good at it?
I'm a good putter overall. I would say the best part of my game is irons, and then the second best part is putting. Third would be off the tee, and then fourth short game. If I'm being completely honest.
Fifth drinking.
Oh no, my friend. That part I've got covered. Yes.
That's number 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm getting up there, but there was a time where it was definitely I was good. But so to putt on champion Bermuda, you have to understand how the grain works. And if anyone here is watching the show that is in an area where there is champion Bermuda or any sort of Bermuda grass, you always called as you putt towards the rip. Okay. So when the mower goes over it, because the grass is so grainy and it's pointing in one direction and it lays down with the sun, when the mower comes and hits the side where it's laying down, it hits it up like that. So one side of the cup always looks ripped, right? Like someone just ripped it off. Like they just ripped off the tape from a box.
Sure.
And then the other side's gonna be super smooth. So when the ball goes to break, so if it's a left or right putt and the rip is on the right, it's gonna break more because the ball wants to go more towards the rip, right? And then vice versa the other way. If it was left to right break and the rip was on the left, then it would hold it up more. And you have to understand that, and you just have to believe it because it just happens. And a lot of places that use Bermuda grass, it's a weed, so that the greens aren't always in the best conditions. I mean, the best greens to putt on are bent, as proven by Augusta National, that they're way down south and they do all that work in order to have bent grass greens, because they're not grainy at all. But that's how you putt on champion Bermuda or Bermuda grass.
Bermuda is a weed, and it infested my yard actually here in Kentucky, and it's the worst. Big fucking nuisance.
Yeah, it's bad.
So okay. Anyone else that I'll give you 2 names and then you can sort of add to this. 2 names that stood out to me that are guys that I think can maybe make a move. Trace Crow and Andrew Novak.
I'm interested about both of those guys. We get a lot of talk about them and they haven't really been producing as of late. No. So my mind would just be in a different place when it comes to that range. Right. when you're looking at that range of player, isn't Charlie Hoffman's right around Novak, right? Justin Lauer's right around there. Rico Hoey's right around there. Mac Meisner, Mark Hubbard, those guys are all right around there. I mean, you got a Sleepy Harris English right around there. You got Lucas Glover right around there. I mean, those would be the type. Henrik Norlander's. Oh, he's a little bit lower than that. Sorry. But, with Novak at 7,800, I mean, that's my head goes somewhere else there. Yeah, I would take Jacob Bridgman over Andrew Novak, personally.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
Yeah. I mean, he's been good. He's just it's just not a popular name, so he just kind of floats in there, and but he's been good. Hits the ball good, scores. I mean, you got to score here. You got to make 24 last winners over the last decade. We've been playing there since 2014, so we have 10 years worth of history. And the average winner score is 19 under par, which means you need about 23 or 24 subpar scores. How are you going to make 24 birdies? You got to hit it close to the wedge. And you got to putt. And you look at that birdie or better list, and the guys that are on it: Hoffman, Kuchar. Who else is going to be off the top of my head? Fishburne, This is
Hoffman's a good wedge player too.
JJ, Chandler Phillips, Matt McNeely, Johnny Vegas. Like that. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, this is the thank you for mentioning this, Robert Hauser. Matt McCarty. So I forget who was it last tournament that we never heard of. I think he played in the Latin America. Kiefer?
John Kiefer, right?
That's right, John Kiefer.
Yep.
And I'd never seen a track record recently in recent form like his.
And but it was on much weaker tours. But yes,
much weaker tours. I was like, okay, it's gonna be a fluke. Let it be the weaker tour. And then he performed. I mean, I think I don't know if he's top 20, but he certainly was in the mix. So who's Matt McCarty?
So he's the points leader on the Korn Ferry Tour right now, and he got the Battlefield promotion. He won 3. He won 3 times this year, so he gets to go up to the tour for the rest of the year. And he's gonna. If I was him, I'd play every week until I was in the top 125. And
bro, he had 9 top 10s on the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah, I mean he won 3 times. So I mean, the last guy to do that was what? Oh God, Mito in 2020, 2021. Right. So it doesn't happen as often as you'd think. And, the guy's played great this year. So
he's 26. He's in Scottsdale, went to Santa Clara University.
Yes.
4 professional wins on the Korn Ferry Tour. What's his game? Do you know his game?
Off the top of my head. I was looking at it before, but there's a lot of stuff in there. I don't remember. Not enough to say it here to be accurate.
Yeah.
I got to be accurate for the Discord.
6 feet 165. I would assume he's not a bomber, but you never know. I mean, some of these guys can be. Taylor Moore can be. Right?
Jim Camp's not that big.
Who, Cam Champ?
Yeah. What did I say there? Strike that. Reverse it.
Said,
yeah.
We'll edit that when we go live. Right.
I said Jim Camp. Yeah. When we go live.
Filthy putter. Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Firethorn. Where's Firethorn?
Firethorn, Mitch, tell him. Let him know. Where's Fire? It's Nebraska. My back is just absolutely destroyed right now, by the way.
Well, it's all that heavy lifting you're doing with that ladder.
God bless. Oh, we got the new hats in from Upper Sports. Hang on. Thank you, Big T. There you go. That one's new.
Look at that. There you go. A little rope. I like it. Run pure.
Dropped it.
We're always running pure. I tell you.
We're gonna run pure. I love the McCarty pick.
Yes.
Yes, I'm glad you.
We got to go down. Robert. We got to go down in the doldrums here before we do the snake draft.
Okay. Yeah. What's the doldrum play for you?
Down below. I mean, when you start. I mean, even the 7s in this field is pretty dark.
It's bleak,
right?
Mm-hmm.
But we get down in the 6s, right? We could really have some fun with this crowd.
Okay.
Right?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, there's the 2 Mississippi boys that are going to attract attention, and they should with good reason. Chad Ramey and Davis Riley, right?
Yep.
They're down there. They're right there on the border at 69. And the one guy I like,
Riley won the Charles Schwab, but he also did he not win at Valspar? Or was that Taylor Moore? No, it's Taylor Moore. I always get the 2 mixed up.
No, Riley, he lost to Shank that year? No, who did he lose to? Shank lost to somebody. Burns.
Riley won. Charles Schwab is at
Riley's first win was the team event, right? And then he won the Charles Schwab this year. Remember we talked about him. He was he was in the 5s, and I said his name, and he was 350 to 1 to win the thing, and then he won it. And he beat Scheffler in a final group on Sunday. Crazy.
That was right. That was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got the Knights of Neesmith down here at the bottom, but the name I like down in the 6s is a blast from the past. You would like him right now because he's roll tide.
Roll.
Right?
Dave Skins.
No. And hit the Skins, right? No. And
Rio Hisatani. Hi, Sastane.
It's Satsune. From a while ago, Alabama. All right. And then he got in a bad accident. He was injured for a while. Right. And then now he's back. But whenever he played here, he played really, really well. He has 2 4th place finishes here, 2011, 2012. He's just got back on tour this year. after like
Trey,
3 years off.
Trey
What?
Mullinax?
Nope.
Who?
Nope. Initials are BC, and he's in the 6s. Come on, Ghost Jammed.
BC?
Yeah.
Um,
Those Alabama, Mississippi boys can play down here, man. Lee Hodges he's good on
Lee
Bermuda grass.
Hodges. Yes.
He's good on Bermuda grass, yes. But it's not Lee Hodges. Bud Cauley, there it is.
Bud Cauley.
Yep.
Bud Cauley came back at the Honda, I believe. He came back at the Florida swing, and I thought, there's no way Bud Cauley's going to compete. And he played great.
He's been good. He's been okay.
Yeah.
You know,
he could always putt.
Yeah, and he's been good here before. He's got 2 fourth place finishes a long ways ago. So he's like, you know, Henrik Norlander from 10 years ago. And down there at that value, I feel like he'll make the cut. And then you could have a lot more flexibility at the top because you can jam in maybe another 9 or 8K guy if you have him down at 66, because there's not a lot of love down here in 66.
No.
You know,
no.
Even beneath that.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Montgomery should make sense, but he just has not been playing well. I know you like Highsmith. It's not bad to fill out your teams.
I don't know about Highsmith this week, but you know,
David Lipsky's second at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, Lipsky's superpower though is long iron play, and that's not here.
You used to be hot on Kevin Doherty.
That was like 2 weeks back in March. How do you even remember that?
I remember that. I remember everything.
Yeah. I know. It's 6 more years, we'll have a common law marriage, you and I.
Yeah, I know it'd be good at that because you bring up things from the past. All right, let's do snake draft.
Got to do it. Yep.
Snake draft brought to you by DraftKings.
Last week, I started first. So Procore, I started first.
Okay, so I'll go first. No duplications. That's the rules. Snake draft brought to you by DraftKings. 3 players, and then we pick our winner. Well, the top of the board is going to be our winner.
We always do 5.
And we're going to do 5 this week. That's the rules.
Yes.
I'll start with Nick Dunlap.
JJ Spawn. And Patrick Fishburne.
Okay. No duplications. That's the rules. I start with Dunlap. I will go Patrick Fishburne and Matt McCarty. 3.
Ooh, you really love those stories.
I love stories. McCarty is absolutely screaming at me. Yes.
There's 2 things after doing this for like a year with you.
What?
Right. No, there's 2 things that I know. Number 1, you cannot let go of like your heroes.
Nope,
you just can't do it.
Nope.
And then number 2 is that you love these brand new stories. You know?
Yes.
So like for you, Ludwig had to be the ultimate brand new story because he showed up and he went nuts every week.
There's so many of them. And who's the next big star? It happens every week.
I mean, Dunlop's been impressive, man. The guy won as an amateur. First time in 30 years, and then he won again.
Yes. And then he only played well on easy courses for the rest of the year. And then he's like, oh, I'll figure out how to play tough courses well and then be a really good putter.
So I got to go 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to
go Dunlap, McCarty, and Fishburne.
I'm going to go Svensson and Hoffman, 3 and 4.
Okay. I will go.
I saw a drunk Fluff the other night. Somebody's asking about CT Pan. I don't know if Fluff made it back safely from Montreal.
Really?
He was banged up the other night. Yeah, on Sunday.
Was he ripping heaters? Obviously.
I mean, like you read about.
His mustache is full of nicotine.
Oh yeah. I mean, you ever know? Like that's why the guys that smoke like that have mustaches because then they go like this, so they can get more nicotine.
That's fucking sick.
It's gross, but yeah, it's true.
Gross.
It's true. Yeah. That's what they do.
I'm gonna go.
Been around the tour a long time, man. I know the tricks.
Steven Yeager, and one out of the absolute air, Grillo.
Yeah.
I think he's better than a lot of guys in this field at a good price.
Oh man, I was with Kenny last week. Pat's whole crew was up there, and I met those guys in person for the first time. It was a lot of fun.
What'd you think of them?
I felt like I was in the I don't know, the cantina scene from Star Wars, but
Yeah.
they were great guys, absolutely. I loved they were so nice. They were
They're
so appreciative
Canadian.
of what we do.
Yep.
Um, and just like absolutely, Pat, style filters down, right? Like Pat is the best, and they were all just so nice to me and so
No,
welcoming and everything. And I never met any of them. So in person, I met them like
I've
this.
known Pat and Jeff for 7. No, I have never met them in person, but I've known Pat and Jeff for 7 years in this industry,
Yep.
and they have not once disappointed me. They've been always solid guys in a very competitive space and content, right? So
Yep.
because sometimes you run into, unintentionally a lot of snakes, but those two have always been solid to me, and they're good guys.
Yeah, they were great. So I
And
didn't know
Kenny
Kenny Kim he's a trip. Um,
Snake
fifth
draft.
pick for me. I'm gonna go with Joel Damon. Fifth pick.
Wow,
Yep.
out of nowhere. If you said
Yep.
Keith Mitchell, that'd been great for the bit, but no, we'll learn. We'll get there.
No. We gave Keith Mitchell way too much airtime.
That's true.
Um,
I love the picks, though.
Joel's 118 on the list. He's got to play good to keep his card. And this is a
Right.
good spot for him because this is one of the few places on the planet Earth where he's been to more than 3 or 4 times. He's been there 5 or 6 times, and he has a positive strokes gained putting average, right? So like we
Yeah.
gotta bank on that. And he's one of those guys. I think on the board I got him at 125, but I think he went up a little bit. So could be a good value there.
You make fun of me for hanging on too long to my heroes like Keith Mitchell, but I will say that you do hang a lot on Joel Damon. I'm going to say that.
Um,
Gino follows me on Twitter. He's a good dude.
oh, Gino's the best. Yeah. Gino's good people. Joel's good people. Sometimes I root for people, but this is a spot. There's a lot of places I skip that Joel's a great ball striking candidate for, but he just can't putt. And this is one of the places where he can. So we're gonna let it ride. Last couple times he's been here, he's finished in the top 20. So
There you go.
yeah, it doesn't happen often with that putter of his. So ride it
All
when
right.
you can.
We did it. Snake draft. A successful snake draft.
Yes.
Rules not broken.
I
go.
I don't think I had any redundancies today, which is a first for me.
No. What's this week? What's next week?
Brand new event, the Black Desert Championship or something. Black Desert Open.
Is it replacing something else?
It is in Utah and
Utah.
Yeah. So I think that I don't know. We're gonna like roll out Jadon Blake and Tony Finau, and I don't know.
The Black Desert Championship. That course looks legit.
Yeah, it does look like a cool course and everything. I don't know how many fans are actually going to get there, but typical of the PGA Tour, we're doing it there, and we'll have to learn about a new course next week. And
Why Utah people can't get there, or it's just hard? Is it remote?
I think it I don't know. It looked pretty remote. It wasn't like if I remember correctly, looking at it briefly, it wasn't like close to Salt Lake. It just looked kind of remote. I don't know. Maybe it's like an hour from Vegas or something, like the way it's positioned. I'm not quite sure.
Right.
But
Right.
it's something new, and they're gonna be giving out points, and Tony Finau will probably go in as a higher favorite in a field like this than he was in Mexico this year. It'll probably be like 4-1.
Is Finau playing?
I mean, I think he would. He lives in Utah.
Yeah, he has to.
I mean, you would hope so.
Who's his coach, or was his coach?
Boyd Summerhays.
Summerhays, that's right.
Yeah, Boyd. His son's Preston's very good.
The dirty Summerhayses. There you go.
Oh, jeez, man, tough crowd.
We got stories. I don't have stories. Until next week,
Mr. Wiley. Congrats on your weekend, and of course, as always, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, and always read the line.
Oh,
and
man,
always, we need to get our crew a neon. The gentleman who asked you on Twitter. There it is. Maybe give him that one.
Live auction next week. Snake draft.
Director of Fun.
Peace.